And then he will also lead us in the pledge. If everyone would stand.
Well, good evening.
Wait a minute, Pastor Hines, before you get started. Can y'all please where are the officers out there that's at the front door? Can y'all move the doors and shut the door? Let's get started.
Well, good evening. Let's pray together. Our Father, we come to Thee once again this evening, and Lord, thank You for this opportunity to assemble. Lord, this first meeting of this year and into January, we ask tonight You'd meet with us, that You would lead, guide, and direct, and Lord, that we would indeed remember that we are under Thee and accountable to Thee. So bless this meeting and all that takes place this night, and we'll thank You in Jesus' name. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
I'd like to officially call our meeting to order. The planning and zoning items was advertised for the January 16, 2024 Board of Commissioner meeting, but has been postponed by staff. ULDC Amendment 23-13 has been postponed. So if there is anyone here for this particular item, this item will not be heard tonight. There is an amendment to the agenda. We will go into executive session for litigation and personnel matters. We also have a resolution requesting local delegation support for Medicaid expansion. Stephanie, the ARPA one was pulled off? Okay. We will now have a proclamation read by Nicholas Ivy for the Henry County Parks and Recreation 50th year anniversary.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. I have a proclamation for your recognition of Henry County Parks and Recreation on the occasion of the department's 50th anniversary. And it reads, whereas this year, 2024, the award-winning Henry County Parks and Recreation Department is celebrating 50 years of providing recreation and leisure services to Henry County residents, impacting lives and collaborating with organizations within Henry County and surrounding counties. And whereas the Parks and Recreation Department was established in 1974, and during the first 5 years of operation was a one-man department headed by Director Charles Bledsoe, whose vision and leadership initiated the transformation of a small rural program into the full-service department. And whereas, as the Parks and Recreation Department continued to grow and add sports, arts, and activities for the community, the need for staff grew as well. And in June 2003, Director Tim Kohler expanded programming and staff to meet the county's needs. And whereas the department is currently led by Leisure and Public Services Cluster Lead Jonathan Penn, who has launched capital improvement projects and implemented a plethora of new initiatives in order to be more inclusive in serving everyone in the community, and with his dedicated staff continues the proud legacy established by those who came before. And whereas Henry County Parks and Recreation's mission statement is to improve the quality of life in Henry County by providing the opportunity for each individual to live an active life by offering diverse programs and services through well-maintained parks, facilities, and amenities, and to create and develop sustainable recreational programs without limitation for all citizens. And whereas Parks and Recreation's vision is to be the leader in promoting community health and wellness through fun, progressive, and memorable parks and recreation experiences, today Henry County Parks and Recreation maintains approximately 28 properties spanning more than 1,400 acres, and Parks and Recreation continues to set the standard throughout the state of Georgia through its innovation and creativity, and was most recently honored by the Georgia Recreation and Parks Association as the 2023 State Agency of the Year. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Henry County Board of Commissioners congratulates Henry County Parks and Recreation on this remarkable milestone and extends its sincerest gratitude to all the people, staff, commissioners, volunteers, and residents who have shaped such an outstanding organization, and look forward to what the future brings for Henry County. Congratulations to our Parks and Rec Department.
And we can have our cluster leader, Jonathan Penn, from Parks and Rec, and any other staff that's here from Parks and Rec to come forward.
There's no one else here.
Okay. And are we gonna get a picture over to the side? Okay. Next item on the agenda is a presentation, microtransit presentation by Director Ty Salters.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. This evening, we have a presentation regarding the microtransit laws for Henry County. This was a project a long time coming. I'm going to have Regan Hammond from VHB to present this presentation.
Good evening, Chairwoman and Commissioners. Thanks for having us today. I'm here to share a little bit about the new microtransit service that Henry County Transit, or Henry Connect, will be launching on January 29th of this year. Let's start off quickly with a recap of what microtransit is. It's a newer form of on-demand transit service that really can complement the existing service that you already provide today. It's open to the general public, but what makes it different is that it leverages technology. You can use a mobile app to request on-demand trips, very similar to what you already do today with Uber and Lyft and those types of services. So the service provides curb-to-curb service, allowing for flexible operations. There's no fixed route, and it's really well-suited for less dense and suburban areas like Henry County. It also uses smaller vehicles than, say, a standard transit bus that you might see MARTA or Cobb County or Gwinnett County operate. So where did the microtransit idea come from? I was fortunate to work with Ty and the county on the Henry County Transit Master Plan a few years ago. And in that planning effort, we looked at opportunities for refinements to Henry County's existing service and to be able to leverage new service technologies like microtransit. And what we found was that the areas around the cities, particularly McDonough, were primed for that. So after the transportation plan or transit plan was completed, Henry County partnered with VIA to refine a microtransit zone and recommendations, as well as the service characteristics of that. So the proposed microtransit service that's launching January 29th. It will utilize Henry Connect vehicles with updated branding, the Henry Connect logo that you see there. A ride will cost $5. This is a little bit more than the countywide on-demand service because this is seen as a premium service for passengers. And operations will follow similar to the current Henry County Transit Service, 6:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And the zone is focused around the city of McDonough. So you can see that map here today. This had the highest propensity for successful microtransit service delivery. Important to note is that the dialysis clinics, senior center, other healthcare facilities are going to be served with this, as well as a few schools and parks and city and county offices as well. Folks can use the app to request a ride. Their trip must originate and end within that microtransit zone. They can download the mobile app, the Henry Connect mobile app, from either the Apple Play Store or Google Play Store. And the vehicle will meet them at the curb, just like Uber or Lyft, and take them to their destination anywhere in the microtransit zone. There's also the option as well for those who maybe aren't as tech savvy. They can still call the same Henry County Transit number and pre-book a trip as well. I should note that Henry County's on-demand service that's countywide will still operate as it does today and serve those trips that are outside of the microtransit zone or those that maybe originate inside McDonough but need to get elsewhere in the county. So. We have put together a targeted marketing strategy to help broadcast when this launch is going to be and how microtransit service works and promote it. We've been working with Ty and the communications department. Social media strategy website is updated today, so you can check that out for a lot more information. Social media campaign should be starting any day now. We are attending various events around the McDonough area to help promote. Most notably, we attended the MLK parade in McDonough on Monday, and we have other events planned over the next couple of weeks. We're also dropping off literature, flyers, other information at dialysis clinics, senior centers, other key destinations around the county, particularly within the microtransit area, to help get the word out. And with that, any questions?
Thank you for the presentation. I do have a couple other questions. I see that you are launching this for the McDonough area. What is the plan moving forward to some of the other cities such as Stockbridge and Hampton and Locust Grove?
Yeah, as I noted, McDonough was kind of the most suitable for launch initially. We did identify other areas such as Stockbridge as the next phase. Some of that will depend on funding and seeing how well the first zone goes and making adjustments as well. But Ty?
And most of our trips, they looked at start and originate in McDonough, most of Dallas is senior center. So we are going to look at other areas, but we do want to start with one area first. We don't want to do the entire county at one time.
This is the approach that some of your peer jurisdictions have been taking. Most notably, Gwinnett County launched an initial 2 zones in Lawrenceville and Snellville back in August, but they have a plan to, roll out eventually over time countywide.
Okay. Now, I noticed that a lot of the locations, can you go back to the map?
Sure.
Of, the zone, there. So will, at some point, you said that it has to be within the zone. But what if you had someone in McDonough that needed to go to Piedmont Henry Hospital or to one of the doctor's offices up in that area?
So in that case, they can just call the office and schedule a regular on-demand trip as we've been doing.
Okay, okay, all right.
Yep, this just adds to what Henry County has been providing for the last several years.
Okay, all right, great. Commissioner Wilson, you had a question?
So it's a $5 one-way trip, correct? So it's a $10 round, okay.
which is very nice pricing compared to Uber and
Yes.
Lyft these days.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner? Thank you. Yeah, it's a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the appointment of the vice chair to serve for the 24 calendar year. I would like to make a motion to nominate Commissioner Johnny Wilson of District 1 to serve as our vice chair. Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Congratulations, Commissioner Wilson. District 2, Library Board appointment. Commissioner Lewis, you want to? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. You know, I'm still trying to get used to the commission districts. I'm sorry. Commissioner Robinson, would you like to take the lead on this?
Okay, I didn't know I was going to do that, but thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just so happy to announce that my appointee for District 2 Library Board will be Ms. Deborah Abernathy. If she can please stand. Ms. Abernathy is in our school system. She's heavily involved in our school system as well as in our community. She's a part of the Delta Sigma Thetas. So I just want to say thank you for continuing to be in the community and look forward to you serving the constituents of District 2, and not only just District 2, all of Henry County when you're making your decisions. So thank you so much for accepting the invitation to be appointed to the Library Board. Trustee, thank you.
Make a motion.
Oh, and I would like to make a motion to appoint Deborah Abernathy for a term that will expire on December 31st, 2027.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Next, we have our consent agenda, and we have our county manager, Sherry Matthews, to please come forward and read our consent agenda.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, and Board of Commissioners. This is your consent agenda for Tuesday, January 16th at 6:30 p.m. Under the Board of Elections, we have a resolution approving the 2024 qualifying fees for elected officials. Under the Department of Transportation, we have a resolution of the Board of Commissioners authorizing placement of signage memorializing Sharon's Church 200-year anniversary. Under SPLOST, we have a resolution authorizing the use of LMEG funds for the patching for Valley Hill Road located within the city limits of Stockbridge. And under the county manager, we have a resolution approving the opioid allocation. Madam Chair, this ends the consent agenda.
Motion that we move the resolution authorizing the use of LMIG on patching on Valley Hill Road to the regular agenda, please.
Okay, we will be moving, got a motion to move it to the regular agenda. Can I get a second on that? Got a motion and a second, so that will be all in favor? Okay, so that item will be moved to the regular agenda. The other items on the agenda, on the consent agenda, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
So since we moved that item to the regular agenda, the resolution of the LMIG funds, if I could have Rocky to please come forward.
Good morning, Chair and Vice Chair and Commissioners. This resolution of Valley Hill Road is, as the county manager mentioned, is authorizing the board to use LMIC funds for the patching of Valley Hill Road located within the city of Stockbridge. Valley Hill is located within the city limits of Stockbridge. Valley Hill is also located within the District 2 and is in need of improvements. The city of Stockbridge desires assistance of Henry County for the patching of Valley Hill. Mays Landing Road and Mays Court were designated Henry County LMIC 2024 as per resolution number 23-313 to be paved. Withdrawing these two roads from LMIC 24 will provide the funding of $110,000 towards the cost of patching. The county will contribute $110,000 towards the city of Stockbridge for the patching. The city will be responsible for bidding and also for the management of the project. Any cost overage regarding this road will have to come from the city of Stockbridge.
What was the total cost of the repairs?
The estimate of patching only, which does not include resurfacing, just to patch the potholes, is around $400,000, estimated. It could be more.
Okay. And so, what portion was being considered from the LMIG?
$110,000.
Okay. So the entire road is in the city of Stockbridge, but it was in the county before annexation took place, correct?
That's correct.
And we did no road patching or resurfacing when it was in the county?
So prior, of course, we did patching. This is more like deep patching. We did patch potholes as they, as they develop. But this is more for like a deep patch, and it's more entire sections of the road to be patched, milled down 4 inches and patched back up. Versus what we were doing just basically your routine patching, which when you have a pothole, we just go out there, put some coal mix and pack it down, and hopefully it stays there. But this is more involved than just our regular maintenance of patching.
Okay. Commissioner England, did you have questions?
So I just want to clarify, because I think you answered a couple of these. All of Hidden Valley Road is in the city of Stockbridge, correct?
That's correct.
And when did they annex into the city that road? Do you know?
I want to say it was November of 2022.
David Simmons looked like he knows the answer.
I believe the annexation that put it all within the city was the annexation that took place at the 1st of 2023. So January 2023.
But the vote was in 20.
Yeah, that's when it took effect.
So would it be typical of us to use LMIG funds on a road that is strictly a city road now, in which they've annexed in?
No, it's not typical.
And you may not know the answer to this, I don't expect you to, I'm just seeing if you do. Do they not have enough money in their own SPLOST program to take care of this road in its entirety?
I do not have that answer.
I didn't think you would. Okay. That's all the questions I have at this time. Thank you.
Anybody else had any questions or comments? Okay. Okay,
I'll go last.
okay. Commissioner Thomas?
Well, I was really waiting to get some more information from Rocky or from the commissioner. If they annex this road in 2023, I'm going to assume they received the taxes for that area in 2023, which is what we would have used to help supplement, if necessary, the resurfacing of that road in 2023 or 24. And my question is, are we just doing this at the pleasure of someone? I don't want to set a precedent of doing things that we don't normally do. So that's my biggest concern, because there are oftentimes I pressure our county manager for funds to do things, and I pressure. And if we're going to start doing something out of the ordinary, should be a concern by this board, because this would not be the only time annexations are taking place. They just did another annexation, I believe, on Patrick Henry Boulevard, which is a huge road. And it needs some work on it. So are we trying to set a precedent here? Are we going to stand our ground here? I'm concerned about what we're trying to do in the process, because annexation takes money out of the county's budget to operate and place that money to another budget where they're supposed to take care of all that is attached to that annexation. So I'm concerned.
On the Patrick Henry, we had just completed a joint repaving project, correct? With the
Correct.
city of Stockbridge.
Correct, Chair. And on that project, a portion was in the city and a portion was in the county.
Right.
So the county paid their portion and the city is going to pay their portion. But that project has been completed from Jodico all the way to the bridge.
Okay, and is that the portion that they have annexed into after we pay?
Yes, they annexed a portion of that and all the way, well, they have it now all the way to Eagles Landing as well.
Okay, all right, thank you. Commissioner Wilson?
So I had a request to put a $12 street light at an intersection. The city annexed part of that. So we had to get the city of Locust Grove to put in that $12 street light because they annexed a piece of that property around the intersection. $12, $144 a year.
Commissioner Roberts?
Rocky, so I have a question, and I'm gonna go down the list so I can answer some of the questions, let you answer. So I started this in 2016, right? With the county to resurface, do a deep resurfacing of Valley Hill Road. It was not done. A lot of the area was neglected in then District 5. This road has become a cut-through when traffic is backed up on 675, Highway 42, which is going to be widened. They cut through, so we have heavy trucks. So it has significant damage that has taken place. I will say the city annexed in 2023. We're talking 2016, when this originally request had been coming in. So now the county is basically stating that, okay, well, Stockbridge annex it, then go, just like a used car, then it's on them. Citizens don't look at that, okay? We look at wanting our roads, because what happens, there's no lighting on Valley Hill Road. It's a dangerous road with hills, and you've traveled that road. So we're talking about safety here. It's nothing to, I guess, satisfy me. Even though I travel that road, I live that road. We're talking about the constituents in the city of Stockbridge. So can you tell me what funding that was stated that came when they annexed? Do you know how much that was for the city of Stockbridge to receive from November 2023? We're now in January of 2024. So can you tell me what dollar amount that would be?
I don't have that figure, Commissioner, but
Okay.
it would be any properties that are along that corridor.
Okay, so with that being said, we're going to go $110,000 from the LMEG from 2016 to now January 2024. Can you also tell, because this wasn't stated, Stockbridge is also not just asking us to pay, can you give me their dollar amount that they're going to pay for this as well?
So the city of Stockbridge, they did pass the resolution. I believe it was late December. And on that resolution, they stated that they were going to contribute $200,000 or 50% of the 400.
Right, so 200,000, which is going to be 400,000, and they would have to do the offset, right?
Correct.
So basically, with them coming in, annexing, just right in 2023.
Right.
I want to keep going back to 2016 because I was the person that was requesting. So it's not what I'm saying somebody else did, it's what I did as a constituent. So with them coming to the table, the whole thing with this is ensuring the safety of the constituents in District 2, the safety of the constituents that travel Henry County. Because again, they travel going to Locust Grove, they travel the road to cut through to go through to McDonough to get home. And they want to get home safely, okay? So that's where we are with this. So I just wanted to clarify with everyone here that lives in District 2, everyone that lives in Henry County, if you're traveling Highway 42 off of 675 going through Valley Hill Road, if you know that road, it's dangerous. Were we not only going to pave Mays Road? Was that not on?
We were going to pave Mays Court.
Okay, so
Mays
Mays
Court and
Court.
Mays Landing Road.
So we kind of shifted a little bit, and I just want those people to know we shifted because of the safety reason. And that's the only reason, because it's not like we're, removing it or whatever. It's just we're making sure that we're considering the safety of all of Henry County constituents. So if something happens on 675 with GDOT or just saying that, there's a backup, people are traveling that road. And all I'm saying is to my colleagues who are asking these questions that has been brought up since 2016, I'm not putting people's lives in danger to say, if you buy a used car, then you've got to take whatever deals with it. I'm trying to tell you to use the heart on this, to know that it could be one of your constituents that's traveling that road, and if, God forbid, if something happens, then that would be something based off your decision tonight, when the city of Stockbridge is taking the rest of the dollar amount, and all we're doing is $110,000, and the funding is available in District 2's LMEG, correct? So we're not taking from anyone else.
Correct.
We're using District 2's LMEG. Okay, thank you.
So I have a question. How long has this road been in Henry County?
Since it was a path, I'm pretty sure it's been a long time coming, Chair. Long
20
time.
years, 30 years,
Probably more than that, yes.
50 years?
Could be probably more than 50 years, Chair.
Has it, and to your knowledge, do you know if it's ever been repaved? Because at that time, it was in the county. The portion,
Right.
I believe that Commissioner Robinson is trying to, use her LMIG money for, is the portion of the road that was in the county before it was annexed into the city.
Right, and also, Chair, the intersection of Valley Hill at State Route 42, it was a SPLOST project that we did a few years back, but it was probably SPLOST 2, so it's been probably close to 20 years since we did that, 18 years there, so that we widened the intersection and signalized it as well. So just for information.
Okay, then, so basically, no county funds have been put on this road during any time that it was, other than when it was built?
Well, I'm pretty sure we have resurfaced it through the years. I don't know if our DOT has the exact date, the last time we done it, but,
So you hadn't
usually.
you hadn't done anything the last 20 years, have you?
I can't remember.
Last 10 years?
It's possible it may have been, say, before 2008 or so. I'm just going off memory, but I don't remember specifically resurfacing, but by the looks of it, it's probably been resurfaced before. Might have been in the late 90s.
In the late 90s? Okay.
It's a guess, but I would say it's definitely not been resurfaced since before,
Okay,
since at least 08.
okay, thank you. Commissioner Ingram.
I was just curious, because we did that scoring, Rocky, how does that road score? Do we know? Because we have that new system we put in place. Yeah, sorry, David. Thank you.
I'm going off memory, but the most recent scoring is about a 43, 44 throughout its full length.
Okay, pretty poor. And is there any reason that they negotiated for a 50-50 deal on this with SPLOST? Any reason why that's the number they chose?
Okay.
Commissioner England, because that was discussions that I had with Stockbridge, because I knew with my colleagues that your concern was that they had annexed in. So I actually spoke with the mayor, so he can take it back to the council to say that we need to work together to ensure the safety of the constituents. And I knew with my colleagues, the concerns that are coming up tonight, that it possibly would not pass unless they actually put something in it to show that their annexation, that they, that is something that they wanted to do. However, they had to put more in for the safety of the constituents based upon me not having funding anyway for District 2 that I can come in with. So I had to let them know, you have to definitely come, bring some skin to the game, because I know that we're not going to be able to do all of it, even though, like I said, it was our responsibility, and we're talking dates, that it has been neglected. So Stockbridge passed a resolution after our discussion, and that's where we're here now today.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I do want to commend Commissioner for wanting to provide safe roads in our communities. But two things were mentioned that needed to be brought out. One, that there's a rating system that we use to determine where and how we do roads. And if we don't be consistent with that process, we'll be inundated with people calling us, I want my road done, I want my road done. So we have to talk about the process. That's important. Thank you for revealing that Stockbridge is putting money into this, because prior to that, I thought, well, what are we doing? If I didn't hear him say it, we had to ask questions to get that information out, that they are putting money into this. And I do know that no matter what we do in this county, safety is the issue. Fine with safety. But we got to make sure that we follow a process so that anyone who comes before this board, be it you, be it a constituent, we can go back and say, here's the process, here's the grading system, here's what's been done, here's how it was managed. And everyone will be managed differently. So thank you for the time. If you are comfortable using those LMIG dollars out of your budget, thank you for that, and thank you for revealing that Stockbridge is putting some money into the game.
Okay, I'd like to call for a motion. Is there a
Second.
second? Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Those that are opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Planning and Zoning, RZ-22-11. David Whitaker of Jackson, Georgia, requesting a rezoning from C2 to M1, from C2 and M1 to RM for property located at 48 Franklin River Road.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, Board members, and citizens of Henry County. While my coworker pulls up the presentation, I'll just speak a bit about the case. The case in front of you is for property located at 48 Franklin Rivers Road and Highway 1941. The property is currently zoned C2 General Commercial and M1 Light Manufacturing, and the applicant is requesting a rezoning to RM Residential Multifamily. The applicant is requesting to rezone 11.78 plus or minus acres from M1 Light Manufacturing and C2 General Commercial to RM Multifamily Residential for the purpose of a multifamily townhome development. Per the application materials submitted by the applicant, they are proposing a 58-unit townhome development with a proposed density of 7.2 dwelling units per acre net. Thank you. The low-density mixed-use zoning district allows densities of up to 8 units per acre net. The property was rezoned from R2 to C2 and M1 on December 5th, 2006. And the owner of the property has attempted to develop the property as a batch concrete plant and a U-Haul storage facility in the past to no avail. A large portion of the property is within the boundary of the 100-year floodplain, which will be dedicated to undisturbed open space. And the subject property is within the boundaries of the Highway Corridor Overlay District, and those standards are illustrated on the proposed site plan. The development is intended to be a rental community. However, there are 3 other proposals for the other corners of this intersection, which are currently moving through the rezoning process. Those developments will offer for-sale products with a consistent style to this development if approved. Staff is working with the commissioner to determine the future character and style of this area. These are the proposed elevations shown on the screen, but following conversation with the applicant and commissioner, staff is suggesting an architectural style more similar to the examples shown on this slide. As these are residential multifamily, the townhomes will be required to be sprinkled, and this process has to go through review for every department that's in the development field. On August 11th, 2022, the Zoning Advisory Board recommended approval of the applicant's request to rezone the property from C2 General Commercial and M1 Light Manufacturing to RM Residential Multifamily with 8 conditions. As you may remember, we did update our code to have a multifamily development standards. So we wanted to take the conditions, those 20 condition rezoning, 30 condition rezonings, and bring those numbers down. So that's why you see 8 conditions, but within the code itself, there are a lot of restrictions and standards that will have to meet. And I'll be happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions from the board? Kamal, can you go back? Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Wilson, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I can wait till the public hearing's over. That'd be-
Oh, okay,
Yep.
okay.
You like me to go back to the site plan?
I want to go back to the rendering. You showed 2 renderings.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize, the computer's moving a little slow, so just bear with me.
It's tied. Okay,
this-
so
this
this was what was originally proposed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but the second rendering, you're saying is what is proposed now?
Well, we had some discussion with the commissioner and the applicant, and we thought this style just gave a little more variety and flavor to the development. But there's a condition for architectural review regardless. So the plan is, if approved, when we get to the architectural review process, we'll actually have the commissioner take a look at the plans that are proposed in as well.
Okay. I guess I want to get a better understanding of, are we going with this one or that one?
Staff would go with this one. This is our suggestion.
Okay,
So we would base our review off of consistency with this plan, and there may be some deviations. There may be a product that's actually better that we may want to pivot to. So we don't want to tie our hands so tight to this
okay,
style.
all right. So this is a public hearing. And those that wish to come and speak in favor of the project, including the applicant, you have a collective total of 10 minutes.
Madam Chair, members of the board.
Good
Steve
evening.
Moore, Bass Consulting, 1350 Keys Ferry Court in McDonough, Georgia, here tonight representing Mr. David Whitaker on this rezoning request. As Kamal mentioned, the property is 11.8 acres at the east side of 1941, south of its intersection with Franklin Rivers Road, C2 and M1 to RM. And Mr. Whitaker has made several requests to try to develop this property. As Kamal mentioned, it's been a batch plant. It's been, I think, he tried a U-Haul self-storage. The Highway Overlay District had some impacts to that. especially after seeing the new future land use map, felt like a reasonable request for the property. The low-density mixed-use designation does allow up to 8 units per acre, which we comply with. So if I push the right button. So that is a top-down view of this development. It is proposed as a gated community with its sole access from Franklin Rivers Road. No access to 19 and 41 is proposed. And that's a picture of the gated entrance. Doing something wrong? I got you. All right, cool. So there is, of the roughly 12 acres, there's a large floodplain area on the back side of the property that borders the adjacent subdivision, which is Liberty Square Park. So we felt like that was also an attribute, especially related to the adjacent area. And then most of the units face this central green area here. That area is going to be outfitted with a cabana, community fire pit, playground, dog park, and then that kind of central pedestrian corridor that runs through that development, or through that green space area. It also has on-street guest parking, meets the requirement that your new multifamily code requires for townhome guest parking. That's just another view of the playground area. If you go back to that one slide. So as Kamal mentioned, though, we do, as we're in the highway corridor overlay, we do have the 10-foot multi-use path that would run between our site and 19 and 41 with an 8-foot multi-use path along Franklin Rivers Road frontage. And then elevations, yes. And so the view that you saw earlier was actually from a previous application that I think went in front of the Zoning Advisory Board. They got some traction as far as the view of that, and so we shared that with staff as a possible, solution for this project, and we're happy to sit with staff and try to, develop conditions. What is true is that the developer, the applicant, does not have a builder on the hook right now, which is odd these days. Usually it's a builder developer that's coming to you and they've got the exact product that they're going to build. This is really just a developer with no end user particularly set yet. So there will, we're open to working with staff to try to get something that makes sense for you guys, especially after a end user is selected. So here's a street view of the project. And then this is a video that just kind of is a drive-through video we put together showing what it would look like from the road, the internal road. These are 24-foot wide units. Each of them would have a two-car garage. So it's kind of, they call it a muse approach, where the units would actually face kind of a common area rather than a typical road. So this will be one owner, rental community. So obviously they would be the ones responsible for maintenance of all of the green space areas and common areas within the project. We understand staff's recommended approval with those requests, or with those conditions, and we have no objection to those. And I understand this is public hearing, so I'll just be available to answer any questions that you have at the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come and speak in favor of the project? Okay, Stephanie, reset the clock. Is there anyone here wishing to speak in opposition of this project? Please come forward. You have a collective total of 10 minutes. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Commissioner Lewis?
Yes, thank you very much, Steve, for coming up, and I'm sorry, Kamal, for the presentation. we have worked together on this project. I'll tell you the things that I like about it. I'm not usually in favor of rental. I think everybody's well aware of that by now. I do think it's appropriate for this project. It is a very small development, only 58 townhomes. What I think is attractive about the project is the green space in the middle and have everybody with a community space. So one thing I'm very big on is actually trying to bring back a sense of community to what we do going forward in Henry County. So I really like that, that everyone will be able to meet, gather, have a community that's small enough that people know their neighbors and they can actually look out for their neighbors. What is also very good about it is this is actually going to end up being sort of a gateway to Hampton. And the reason why we hadn't settled on the exact renderings for the project is because there are 3 other projects on the adjacent corners that are come up, which will all are tendered for sale. Another thing that's huge for me is home ownership. So I'm really looking to bring the district up to around at least 80% home ownership. Right now, Henry County is about 73% home ownership, which has been a dip. Prior to the pandemic, Henry County was about 76, 77% home ownership. With the number of communities that have come up, we've dipped to around 73%. This small rental community being adjacent to for sale communities, it's actually going to be about an 87% home ownership. So my goal for District 5 is to make sure that we go back to getting near about 80% home ownership in the area. So very good project in my eyes, a small community. We still do have to talk about what the exact elevation is going to look like, because I'm actually looking for a very outstanding product. If Kamal's heard me say it once, he's heard me say it 1,000 times in the last few months, is I want something that pops. We need to upgrade the types of developments we do in Henry County. Developers that come my way these days, one of the first questions I ask them is, would you build this on the north side of Atlanta? If the answer is no, then, well, you're not going to build it here. So going forward, that's what we're looking for. We're looking to upgrade, and we're actually looking for to have a nice gateway on the 1941 corridors, which is where you'll see a lot of development going forward. But just to sum it up, I am in favor of the project. I think it's a very good project. Small development, good sense of community. So looking forward to them going forward.
So I just have one question. With the architectural design, what commits them to doing a good product? You know, I'm kind of leery of voting for something that you haven't made your mind up on as to what it's going to look like.
Yes, ma'am. So the board giving us architectural review control puts the decision in the hands of staff. But staff, we're going to take these things to the commissioners as they come. So the commissioner actually ends up having a decision at the end of the day still.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'd like to call for a motion. Oh, Commissioner Wilson.
How many units do we have?
58.
58. So if this was a single-family dwelling, we'd have to have 2 entrances, correct? 2, because it passed the 50-unit mark, right?
Yes, sir. But there's
Correct.
no guarantee that GDOT will let them have an entrance on 1941.
How wide the streets? 22-foot standard? Most likely?
Steve, come on up.
They are, for the road sections that don't have the on-street parking, they would be the same as the county road, 26-foot back-to-back.
Yeah. So for the last 7 years, I guess everyone that's presented townhomes know where I stand on townhomes because of my past job, getting fire trucks in and out, a continual roof line. You did mention a sprinkler system. Is that residential sprinkler? Is that going to be the same sprinkler that you put in an apartment complex? So explain that part.
It would be whatever the code, your new code, I think, outlines the specifications for attached units and sprinklers. I think that's included in the new multifamily code. But it would be whatever your building code and your zoning code requires, we would comply with. And there was actually more units on the first plan that we presented, I think, at Zoning Advisory Board. We lost units to add that T turnaround at the very backside for fire apparatus turnaround areas.
Yeah, but that's always been a debate, I guess, with the state, how you classify a townhome. They said you can't classify it as a multifamily, but now you're saying these are classified as multifamily.
Well, it's in your ordinance. It's called attached, what is it called? Horizontal apartments is what it's listed in your code as. And that's also what dictates the number of units that you have, the number of access points that you have to have. I think it's 50 if it's detached, and I think your code actually says lots, 50 lots. But multifamily is like 120 or 130 before you need the second entrance.
So how many units per building? I'm looking at 8, 10?
There's a maximum of 8. Some of them have 4, some of them have 6, some of them have 8.
Under our townhome ordinance, is that 6?
So we have architectural control. It is 6 in the ordinance, but because he's sprinkling it and the fire department has given their okay on it, we can go up to 8, so he can get some of his density back that he lost.
Okay, that's all I have.
Commissioner England?
One question or a point, just because we all need to laugh sometimes.
You spelled fire pit with an L in your flyover. You just might want to fix that.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I saw that too.
All right, so I'd like to call for a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Okay, got a motion. Is there a second? Got a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor? Those that are opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is RZ 22-21. The Reservoir Group of Madison, Georgia requests a rezoning from RA Residential Agriculture to RM Multifamily Residential for property located at 3168 Jonesboro Road. Kenta.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, board members, and citizens of Henry County. The item before you is for property located on Jonesboro Road between McCullough Road and Mitchell Road. The property is currently zoned RA Residential Agricultural, and the rezoning request before you is to rezone the property from RA to RM Multifamily Residential. The future land use map designation for the subject property is medium density residential, medium density suburban, and that is as per the 2045 comprehensive plan. This is the site plan that was submitted by the applicant with the elevations here as well. And some comments from various departments, including Department of Transportation, the Water and Sewage Authority, and Public Safety departments. This proposed development is for an age-restricted community with 50 detached lots. Property is within the Highway Corridor Overlay District, and we need to meet those requirements. The request for multifamily development would require compliance with the multifamily ordinance. Amenities to be included are community garden and pickleball courts, a dog park, pavilion area, as indicated on the site plan. Once more, the site plan there. On December 14th, the Zoning Advisory Board recommended approval of the applicant's request to rezone the property from RA to RM for the purpose of that age-restricted community with conditions. Planning and zoning has since modified some of the conditions since the time of publishing, which does include condition 5, The developer owner shall dedicate right-of-way per latest site plan available, including latest plan available as concept plan for Jonesboro widening, and a 100-foot right-of-way per revised alignment as provided by the county for McCullough Road. Plus, the developer agrees to contribute $20,000 for county's use as it relates to the improvements of Jonesboro Road and McCullough Road. The $20,000 to be paid before final plat issuance. Continuing on, dedicated right-of-way shall be looked upon as deeded right-of-way for the purpose of compatibility with development standards, such as setbacks, required landscaping, etc. And then the last change was to condition 6 to add, development shall be gated, all gates shall be maintained by the HOA. And that total condition number, that is 17 conditions there. And that is all. Thank you so much, and I'd be happy to take any questions you might have.
Can you go back to the rendering?
To the site plan or the elevations?
Keep going back. There. That's what we're looking at?
This is what the applicant has proposed.
So these are single detached?
These will be detached, that's correct.
Okay.
Age targeted. I'm sorry, age restricted.
Age restricted,
Age restricted.
which means?
It is restricted to generally 55 and older residents.
To old people, to older people, older people.
Older individuals.
Okay. All right. The conditions, the $20,000 for improvement, what improvements have been identified that needs to be done?
Yes, excellent question. So certainly the Jonesboro widening, as well as realignment of McCullough Road, although I would ask for perhaps David Simmons or Rocky to speak more on what those.
Where is
improvements-
David Simmons at? I know him and Rocky can tell me what is $20,000 gonna do for us?
Hello again. I did an estimate for basically realigning McCullough Road. Where it comes out on the Jonesboro Road now is a bad skew. We actually prohibit left turns.
Okay.
From there, we prohibit it by sign. I'm sure it happens all the time. But anyway, so I come up with an estimate. I know roughly the amount of traffic they will generate. I've got about 6,000 cars a day on McCullough. This adds another about 350 trips a day, 175 in, 175 out. That's roughly 5%. I took 5% of my overall cost for a realignment of McCullough that was not a monstrous realignment, but still one that comes out at 90 degrees to Jonesboro, and added a right turn lane for folks that are westbound Jonesboro. And I applied that percentage towards my estimate. It was in the teens, rounded it to $20,000. That's how I come up with that.
Okay, all right. Just curious, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a public hearing. Those that wish to come and speak in favor of this project, including the applicant, has a collective total of 10 minutes.
Good evening again. Steve Moore, Moorbass Consulting, 1350 Keys Ferry Court, McDonough, Georgia. Tonight representing, not tonight, but right now, representing the Reservoir Group. So this is a plan. I don't know that this board, everyone got to see this, but this was our original application that did go to the Zoning Advisory Board for a public hearing, and there was significant concern from the surrounding community. There was concern from people that were actually in attendance, that there were high school students at the high school that were talking about how bad the traffic was getting out of our original our plan had an access to the Mitchell Drive, which is the entrance to the high school. But there was a lot of concern, and so, but this was the original request that we made. This was the original site plan, so you can see we had access to Jonesboro Road, we had an access to Mitchell Drive, no access to McCullough Road. It was for 87 townhomes, not age restricted or targeted, just traditional townhomes. And so, again, based on the feedback that we got at the public hearing and further discussions with staff, with the commissioner, this is the plan that we landed on, and we feel like it is an appropriate use based on all of that information. So 50 units, one single entrance. The future land use map does designate the property as medium density. We comply with that density. The community is going to be gated. There is, yeah, I wanted to definitely draw attention to not age targeted. And I know I've presented age targeted communities before. There's been a lot of discussion about what that means. Age restricted, it'll be written in there. Homeowners covenants and restrictions that specifies that age requirement for residents in this community. The central amenity area that is kind of right there has got pickleball courts. It's got a raised community garden, an open air pavilion with a community fire pit. I think I spelled fire correctly on this one. I hope so. And then a separate dedicated parking lot that will serve as guest overflow parking as well as for those visitors of the amenity center. There's a view of the gated entrance from Mitchell Drive, and then some views of the streetscape that should represent or mimic that elevation views that you looked at earlier. So a mixture of materials, several different kind of selections, everything master on main with the kitchen and then the main living areas on the main floor. There may be a bonus room upstairs for guests and grandchildren and kids or whoever, older kids that are staying with them, but predominantly everything's master on main. And we did work with staff on a condition that specifies those architectural requirements that caters to that age profile consumer.
So Steve, I have a question. Looking at your renderings here, I noticed that you just have a front porch, but sometime age restricted might not be able to get up or above that hump. Are the doors going to be no, I'm just saying, is it going to be within compliance of ADA?
Yes, ma'am.
When you talk about age restricted.
Yes, ma'am.
You
Yes, and then we can, when we get into the conditions, I think there's one that talks about a zero threshold or zero entry threshold as one of the 5 or 7 items that we agreed to comply with. But we can definitely address that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I can assure you, though, that even if it's not there, that's the intent.
Okay.
Let me go through these reviews or renderings here, and then there is a video similar to the one that we just looked at that is designed for this community. I think several of these units, you're right, they do show a step up, and that's something that would be addressed as
And I'm
part
not
of this.
saying that everybody is that way,
Yes, ma'am.
but you
No,
may
I
have,
totally agree.
you may have some. I like the fact that they're different.
Yeah, we were definitely
looking,
trying to
because
focus on the variety.
I hate for everything to look institutionalized.
So one of the other, again, as a result of the zoning advisory board and hearing some of those concerns, was traffic. And we did some just numbers based on the typical vehicular counts and based on our previous plan that we had estimated 818 average daily trips for the townhome community. With reducing the units and switching it to an age-restricted community, the estimate went from 818 to 160. So an 80% reduction in the number of trips that was originally proposed. Zero impact on schools. And we know just based on ARC reports and a lot of other discussions that there is a demand for senior housing in Henry County. It is a very popular and growing area, obviously, and that age profile likes this area. And so we feel like there's a need for it. We feel like we've got the right location for it. The private streets means no maintenance costs for the county. All of the gates, amenities, exterior lawn maintenance, everything is covered by the HOA. So it truly is a lock it and leave it type situation for the residents in this community. We estimate that there's probably a $120,000 annual budget that HOA would receive for maintenance of those items. So we're thankful for staff for recommending approval of this request. We're thankful for a unanimous recommendation of approval from the Zoning Advisory Board. And again, when the time is right, we're fine with the conditions that were proposed, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Let's wait until we finish the public hearing, y'all. Okay. Stephanie, restart the clock for, is there anyone here that wish to speak in opposition of this particular project? Anyone here wishing to speak in opposition, please come forward. You all have a collective total of 10 minutes. Okay. Now we'll entertain any questions from the board. Commissioner Wilson.
So I do like these senior living communities. We put one down below Locust Grove several months back, just being gated. Now, my question, I think I answered my own question when I was looking at this. These are sidewalks, not cart paths for golf carts, right? These are sidewalks?
Correct.
So, and I like the fact they're going to put these large trees in there when they get, with the pictures they showed us, them trees going to be pretty large, Commissioner Lewis.
I like trees.
But I do support this. I think we need more of these age-restricted communities, so good job on putting this together.
Commissioner Robinson.
Yes, and this is a beautiful renderings. But the only concern, or just probably a question, and so on Mitchell Road, you've got Dutchtown High School. Traffic is already, when school is being released, just getting to the schools, you've got that entire cluster. And normally with Mitchell Road, it takes me and some of the other educators and parents approximately 30 minutes when we're on that road. So are they going to put a traffic light? Because there's no light at the end.
No, we're going to extend Flippin.
So they're going to extend.
Flippin's going to be on the other side of Dutchtown.
Right.
So that's going to take half the traffic that comes out on Mitchell is going to be over there on Flippin.
Okay, so if it's going to Flippin, but the ones that are going toward Jonesboro Road to Crystal Lake in that area,
No, if they're going to Crystal Lake, they're going to go down, they're going to go Flippin and go straight into Crystal Lake.
and then Flippin will take them back to Jonesboro
Straight in
Road.
front, Straight in front. Crystal Lake. Yes,
I
ma'am.
love it.
Commissioner Robinson, I will say, as soon as we don't get out in the middle of the day and get in traffic, we wait till traffic calms
Okay.
down. So we don't have to get out, so I'm just.
Okay, that's answer my question.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
I just have a question. I love the elevation. I think it's great to see this type of community being built in the area. And Commissioner Lewis and I was talking about the chair and I may be buying them. She was really being specific about certain things. But anyway, I wanted to know how many bedrooms is in and what do you think the cost would be of the houses going into the area? We didn't go into anything like that. Just give me a little bit of information about it, please.
I'll let the applicant speak on that.
Thank you.
And I think they're asking for themselves.
Yeah. You want to do the whole marketing pitch? You want to play the video again? We anticipate 3 bedrooms.
Okay.
Like I said, there could be an option for a larger, like bonus room up on the on the second floor. Commissioner Wilson and I on a previous zoning talked about that sometimes there's actually two masters on the first floor too, where you have, two spouses that may not want to necessarily sleep in the same bed anymore. I guess that's a thing. But we would offer that variety, certainly. And then as far as price point, we're estimating these would start in the low to mid $400,000 range. Recognizing obviously there's a need too for affordable senior housing, and we will do everything we can to try to wrangle that in, but we'll just have to see how the market bears. But that's what we're thinking right now. And as far as the question that you originally asked, there is a where's it at? Just had it. There's a item. Are you pulling it up? But it talks about a zero entry or a 36-inch wide accessible route from the front door to the primary living. Where's it? Item
D, as in
D,
dog.
a 36-inch fully accessible route throughout the floor served by the front door of the dwelling unit. And so I think that would address the issue. And again, this is in your code already for the age restricted or I forget what they call it, the active adult or whatever that section of the code is, but that's where we took that from.
Yeah, because I get a lot of requests a lot of time from seniors that are looking to downs. Kids are gone, no longer need that bigger space.
Right.
And they're looking to downsize to one level.
Somebody to cut the grass.
Somebody to cut the grass, somebody
Absolutely.
to do all those things, and we could just play pickleball.
If my
all
kids
day,
could move into a community like this, they probably would.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If there are no other questions, I'd like to call for a motion.
Just make a comment. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
No, I just want to say, first of all, thank you. It's a pleasure working. Just want to go back to the original application was for 87 townhomes. The residents of my district emphatically stated they did not want that. And so that is how we came to an age-restricted community. And when I say everyone has been extremely supportive of this community, I think this is a great, great project that you're proposing. It was important to me with the community garden. Once again, I want people to know their neighbors. I want people to actually speak to people. Too often we're on technology, phones, whatever, and we don't get out to speak to folks. We don't know our people. This is a community that I think that I think you're probably going to sell all of them before they even come out of the ground. I really do, because people, and as you can tell from the excitement on the board, I think people really want this type of development in Henry County. We are a popular destination for seniors, but the main thing we hear is there are no ranch-style houses in Henry County. It is very hard to find them. So I think this is it's a fantastic community. It's a shame it's only 50 houses. I mean, it's good, it's small, but and to Commissioner Robinson's question about traffic, that is exactly what we looked at. We looked at that Flippin Road will have an extension on the other side of Dutchtown, which will take some of the traffic away. They did address coming off of Jonesboro Road onto McCullough. So a lot of things we looked at, and to Commissioner Wilson, they pledged to keep trees. So a lot of the trees that are already there will not be cut down. So, I mean, this is a real consideration. So I just want to say thank you for working with us. This is something I think that people are really going to love, living in this type of community. So with that, I'll say I make a motion to approve this project.
Got a motion and a second, and if we can get a unanimous, because Johnny, to get Johnny to like something is good. All in favor?
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is RZ 22-26. This is also a public hearing. Brent Holdings LLC, Fayetteville, Georgia, request a rezoning from residential agriculture to R2 single-family residence for property located at 3805 Highway 81.
Yes, good afternoon, or good evening. Once more, the item before you is property located at 3805 Highway 81 East. This is directly north of the intersection of 81 and Keys Ferry, as well as west of the intersection of North Ola and 81. Property is 210.27 plus or minus acres, and our request is to rezone the property from RA, as it's currently zoned, to R2 single-family residence for the purpose of a residential subdivision served by septic systems. Low-density, suburban, future land use map designation as of the adoption of the 2045 plan. This is the conceptual site plan that was submitted by the applicant, which indicates 177 lots. Some elevations that were submitted by the applicant. Characteristics of similar developments within the area. You see a couple R2 zoning districts, subdivisions, east and west of the proposed site. Department comments from DOT and Transportation Planning, as well as Water and Sewage Authority, Public Safety. The applicant is looking to rezone the subject property from RA to R2 for that single-family residential subdivision served by individual septic systems. The 177-lot subdivision is unique in that the plan indicates 109 lots to be designed to a conventional R2 layout, 30,000 square foot lots. In addition to 68 lots, which are proposed to be designed to a conventional R1 layout, 1 acre lots. So this development will have that 2/3 of an acre lot, as well as a 1 acre element to it as well. The future land use map designation for this property is low density suburban, which supports up to 2 dwelling units per net acre. This one is 1.15 as proposed by the applicant. This property is within the boundaries of the Highway Corridor Overlay District and would need to meet those standards therein. Again, the elevation submitted by the applicant. Staff does recommend approval at the time of the Zoning Advisory Board, and the Zoning Advisory Board on March 16th, 2023 also recommended approval of the applicant's request with conditions. Since staff has published the report online, we did change a couple conditions, such as adding condition 5, shall be gated, all gates maintained by HOA. And we did also relook at some of the amenities for the site and removed condition 15 regarding walking trails, purpose being that with the lots being so large, you would really just be traveling through and around your neighbors' properties. So with the addition of being under highway corridor, those sidewalks are going to have to be a little bit larger. We felt that there wasn't a need for the walking trails with this proposed development. But the the conditions list ends at number 17, and that is all. Thank you so much. I'd be happy to take any questions you might have.
Can you go back to the picture, the rendering of the houses? Right there. So that's what we're going for?
Yes, and with that, staff will also be requiring architecture review as well, similar to some of the other cases we've heard tonight.
Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing. Those that wish to speak in favor, including the applicant, please come forward.
Evening, Madam Chair, members of the board again. Steve Moore, Moorbass Consulting, 1350 Keys Ferry Court, McDonough, Georgia, representing Brent Holdings on this request. And I'm just going to start by saying you gotta get the scale right, because you're not used to seeing lots like this. You might, this might be a 1:200 scale map, and it looks like they're really small lots, but they're really big lots. I just wanted to. That's just something that has been really hard to get your arms around for a lot of folks that have looked at this property. But obviously, I think everyone knows where the property is. The Publix at Ola, down at the lower left-hand corner, subdivision Norman Estates is immediately under construction, immediately adjacent to us. They're actually was sewer available to the property, and it could have been developed with the proper amount of work as a much denser community, but the sewer line apparently was at capacity according to the Water Authority, and so the developer opted to develop the property with septic tanks, just based on a lot of those variables. Our request is to rezone from RA to R2 for a 177-lot community, single-family residential community. And I said that in the beginning about the size because it really does make a difference when you look at it in this blow up to the right here. So this is the west side of the project with 109 lots. These are the lots. These are the smallest of the lots. These will be 125-foot wide frontage by approximately 240-foot deep for a 30,000 square foot spot. But I wanted to draw attention to the fact that this is not sewered, not mass graded. This will be, I'll call it old school because I've been doing this for 30 years up here. So old school used to be you graded the road and that was about it. And then the builder would come in and he would clear out what he needed to build his house. That's what this is going to be. This is going to be a developed subdivision, and they're going to leave the disturbance at as minimal as possible. A, because they don't need to, because you can't mass grade it because of the septics, and B, you don't want to disturb the soil profile to take what might work for a septic system and then mess all the dirt up, and now you can't use it for a septic system. So this is going to be the only thing that's cleared, and so this detail to the right shows the area that would be cleared, which is the kind of the vertical lines for the roadway, and then a 40-foot front setback for the front of the house. I estimated a 60-foot deep house, and then they're going to clear at most 50 feet beyond the house for a rear yard. And you can imagine the builders, they're not going to clear more than they want to. Because they're going to want to sod as little as they have to. So I think that's a very conservative estimate, and then that leaves 160 feet between those, 260 feet between the backs of the houses. So plenty of room for landscape, for natural areas that we feel like would be a plus for this community. And a similar thing for the east side of the project, which is the larger lots. These are acre minimum, so they're 150 feet wide. And you can see from that there's, I guess that one, there's 260 feet. I'm sorry, the other one was 180, 260 feet between the cleared areas that would essentially remain uncleared. It would be up to the homeowner at that time if he chose to clear more than that. But as far as the development goes, that's the limits of what would be cleared. Each of these has also been designed from the master plan. I'm going to go back real quick to the overall, but you can see with the two accesses to 81 Highway, they each feed into both of those different size lot communities, and then they do interconnect internally. So staff has recommended a 30-foot perimeter buffer, which we've honored, that would be included on the lots. There's also, because we're in the highway corridor and because it was a request of staff and commissioner to increase the buffer along 81 Highway to screen that area, we proposed a 100-foot buffer there. You can see the two gated entrance locations. And then there was a discussion early on with this project, recognizing the opportunity possibly one day to extend Keys Ferry Road to North Ola. That could be a possibility, and we wanted to at least provide that option if the county chose to do that. So we have preserved right-of-way along our eastern property line adjacent to Norman States and our southern property line adjacent to Norman States for that future extension should it ever occur. This is a rendering of the entrance or the streetscape along Highway 81, showing the multi-use path and the landscaping. Again, with the fence, the kind of the horse-style fence along that area. And then this is some different architectural, I noticed you were asking about the pictures that were provided early on, and the applicant went back and kind of pulled some other options to give some variety, given the size of the lots. You know, obviously I think we need to be able to offer different housing types. And so these are a couple of different kind of modern farmhouse, batten board, lap siding style houses that we feel like would be appropriate. They all still have a brick, water table or a rock water table around the outside. But rather than those pictures that were in the initial staff's presentation, we did want to show some other options that we think would be appropriate for these lots. So again, that's our project that we're proposing. We think this is going to, especially with it now being a gated community, it's going to be a high-end community. It is intended to be an owner-occupied community and not a rental community. We think it's going to be a great location for somebody to live. You're convenient to schools, convenient to shopping. We think that the approach that we've taken is something that you don't see very often in Henry County, that's for sure. I'm glad that the applicant is willing to take this chance. I think they're expecting these homes will be starting in the high $600,000 and up. And I could imagine that it would probably go up a lot from there. But with that, I'll leave it and be prepared to answer any questions you have. Thank you for your time.
Stephanie, if you reset the clock. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in opposition of this particular project? Anyone here to speak in opposition of this project? Okay. Hearing none, Commissioner Anglin, I believe this is your district. Yes, sir.
Tucson has something.
Okay.
So speaking with staff, the SPLOST department for widening of 81 is going to require dedication of 30 feet of right-of-way along the property frontage for that widening. Right now, in the staff conditions, it does specify a 100-foot buffer along Highway 81. Staff would feel comfortable with reducing that buffer from 100 feet down to 70 feet, and the remaining 30 feet be dedicated for that widening.
Okay, thank you. I don't really have any questions. I just want to tell y'all thank you. Working with staff, working with them, getting the lot sizes increased, and getting, more importantly, that right-of-way dedicated. We've been in conversation, and I want to tell the applicant thank you for working with OLA in having those conversations to get that taken care of. The key to that road going from 81 to North Ola is funding at this moment. So that's the one drawback on that. So we're just waiting to see if we can find funds for that to happen. So thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? Commissioner Wilson?
I was hoping this is going to be a 1 acre plus subdivision, but apparently that's not what's going to happen. The only park in the area is down Keys Ferry Road, is Sandy Ridge, and it's busting at the seams. So I'm not sure how what's going to be done about an additional park. I would like to see a park included in this development, but anyway, that's my comment.
North Ola Park is adjacent to it.
That's baseball.
Steve, what amenities are included in this development? Could you kind of go over that, please?
We haven't drawn them in, but they are shown at the entrance there. I don't have a way to point to it. But they are proposed right there where Kent has got the arrow pointed. Staff has recommended
Steve, I can help you out. That's a pool with a minimum 1,500 square foot pavilion, fire pit and grilling area, children's playground with benches, and dog parks as well.
I just want to make a comment about the pocket parks. I mean, we're talking about 1 acre lots. And those folks like myself who have 1 acre plus, I mean, I appreciate amenities, don't get me wrong, and we have the amenity area, but because of the size of the lots, if they want their own swimming pool, they're going to be able to build their own swimming pool, especially if they're having a $500,000+ home. So that's the reason why on the, like a swimming pool and stuff, I don't want to require that, because if I lived in a subdivision such as this, I would want to have my own swimming pool. So that's all of my comments on that.
Yeah, I'm not so much keen on pools, but, you know, just other amenities where, for the smaller lot sizes, you know, if people want to get out and you know, enjoy their neighborhood, they've got somewhere to go.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Engel, if I could, just the condition that's currently written with, requires a pool. Were you saying that you don't want to require a pool? Kent had mentioned that the one with the nature trails or the walking trails and pocket parks, I think, was eliminated, but the pool is still in there. And I just didn't know if that was a condition that you wanted to remove.
Where was the pool going?
The pool would have been in the amenities area towards the front, yeah.
It just looked kind of small. It looked like it's big enough to put a pool, but okay.
That's about it. So those lots there are an acre.
Uh-huh.
It's about 2/3 to 1 acre lot.
Okay.
That amenity areas on it.
Okay, all right.
So leave, yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure I understood what you were trying to go to.
Commissioner Lewis?
I just have a tree question. So all the green areas, so are those trees that will be remaining? I know you said that there would be like 200-foot undisturbed in between lots. The picture you just had up. Yeah.
So, I didn't realize we lost. Yeah, so it actually, about half the property is heavily wooded. The other half is farmland.
Okay.
And so there was actually a condition in the requirements for any lots that backed up to each other. There was a 20-foot landscape strip there that would be added, where landscape would be added to provide some visual screening between backyards. So, but you can see a majority, I mean, I'll say roughly half, maybe a little bit more, is already heavily wooded.
Okay.
And that would remain, again, that we think the builder's going to build his house and he's going to clear as much as he needs to, not more than he needs to, for sure. And the rest of that will be left natural.
And will that be, I guess, deeded to the homeowner, so to speak?
It's on their lot.
It's on,
It's their property.
Lots, okay. Part of the lots, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Thomas?
I'm looking at this is a community for families, apparently. And the playground area would be in the amenities area? Or are you looking for homeowners to really prepare for their own children in their backyards since they're so big? What is your thinking process of that?
So the applicant is, we were just talking through the wording of the condition and offered to do a commercial playground, just recognizing exactly what you just said, that there will be families with young kids. Now, I'm sure some of them may have their own playground, a smaller playground in their backyard. But the only amenity area that we've got proposed currently is there at that entrance location. But again, it's behind the gates, and it's where we have a dedicated parking lot, and I guess where the pavilion and the swimming pool would be. So ideally, that's where we would build the playground.
I've been one not so in favor of a pool because they're dangerous to me. But this is a beautiful community and look like it is targeted for families.
Yes, ma'am.
With children, and with the size of the lots, people who want to stay. This is not a community, from what I can see, is where people plan to move in and in 5 years move out. It looks like a community where people want to stay and raise their families. So I would just say to you, consider that and make it a place where they do want to stay.
Yes, ma'am.
And the little lot up front, you can get away with it, but it really doesn't look like a place that you want to say, come and raise your family. Here's a place for the children to go out and play and, intermingle with one another.
Yes, ma'am.
You get away with it, but it just, as much as you're putting into this development and the homes that you're putting there, you just might want to consider something a little bit more. Don't have to, but it would definitely be more appeasing to families moving in.
Steve, so that particular amenities area is a little over an acre, is what you're saying, or less than an acre?
It's probably a little over an acre, yes,
A
ma'am.
little over an acre. That's a lot. That's a lot of space.
The scale is deceiving.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a placement. It looks smaller, but yeah. No.
But if, if I'm hearing concerns about the swimming pool, a commercial playground may be a more appropriate amenity for that. Certainly at your discretion, but that's something that if that makes sense as a suitable replacement, and maybe it's just an and/or that goes in the condition as far as as an alternate to the pool. But I do, you never want to build something that nobody's ever going to use, and then it ends up being a maintenance issue for the HOA. So if that's something that Commissioner Anglin and the board sees appropriate, we're happy to make that substitution.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm good with them both. Per the verbiage change with the 30-foot dedicated right-of-way and 70-foot, make a motion that we move forward with the subdivision as planned.
Got a motion? Can I get a second? Got a motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor? Those are opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on this agenda is RZ-23-03. This is a public hearing. John Carter of Jackson, Georgia, requesting a rezoning from RA Residential Agriculture to C2 General Commercial for property located at 2646 Highway 138 East.
Yes, good evening, chairs, vice chair, board members, and citizens of Henry County. The item before you is a property located at the southeast corner of the intersection of Highway 138 East and Highway 155 North. Property is currently zoned RA, Residential Agricultural, and the request is to rezone the property to C2 General Commercial. This is the site plan that was submitted by the applicant. There is an existing gas station on the site currently. This is what it looks like. It's rather close up to the property. I think it was actually from the 80s, but in any event, this rezoning request would be for rezoning a portion of land just behind this gas station, and with that, a redevelopment, complete redevelopment of this corner for a new gas station. So they would be demolishing this gas station here and replacing it with something to this effect. This is the elevations that was provided by us from the applicant. These are some comments we received from various departments. And so once more, the property is the request in front of you is to rezone the property from RA to C2 for the purpose of a redevelopment for the gas station and convenience store there. Once again, this is the site plan. The property is within the highway corridor overlay district and would need to meet those standards. We also have a section for additional requirements regarding gas stations that would also need to comply with that. That is primarily regarding buffers and setbacks, which the plan does indicate. Once again, the elevations. On September 8th, the Zoning Advisory Board, September 8th, 2022, the Zoning Advisory Board recommended approval of the applicant's request to rezone the property from RA to C2. At the time, staff did recommend denial of the applicant's request for C2 General Commercial for approval of C1 with the following conditions. Some changes to Condition 1 for clarification reasons, and then Condition 4, again for clarification reasons on that red text there. The applicant has provided some updated language, proposed revised conditions, which we can get into in a little bit. That is primarily Condition 3 and 4. But again, we'll get into that in just a moment. Thank you so much. I'd be happy to take any questions you might have.
So will you go back to the original gas station that's there, right there? So is this gas station right here, is it already zoned commercial?
Yes, so the rezoning request would be for a small portion, a little bit more than an acre, that is actually not on this current gas station site, a little bit behind it, so that they can expand and push the buildings a little bit further from the road.
So basically, behind it is what we're rezoning.
Correct. It's approximately this kind of cut here, whereas the existing gas station is on this corner.
Okay. So, okay, all right, okay. Thank you. So this is a public hearing. Stephanie, 10 minutes on the clock. Those wishing to come to speak in favor of the project, including the applicant, please come forward, state your name and information.
Yep. Good evening, Warren Tillery with Smith Welch, Webb and White, on behalf of the applicant here tonight, John Carter. And John Carter's company is Maine Carter. For those of you who may not know, he's actually second generation that's running the company. The company is 52 years old. It operates in 3 states. And if you bought BP gas in Henry County, you likely bought it from Maine Carter Oil. The gas station that we're talking about is a similar photo, a little bit different, but this is the one. It's at Highway 138, 155. If you
Right across from the food depot.
Correct. If you've ever gone fishing in that pond that's just north of there on 138, you might have bought bait from this gas station. It's what it's been there since the 60s.
It's time.
Our plans to redevelop it.
It's time.
This is just a little bit different photo from a different angle. And we'll sort of skip through some of these. This is the gas station right across the street. So there's already development like this in the area. If you go further up 155, you get to the roundabouts. You've got this one. You've got the one across the street from it. These are kind of what it looks like. What Maine Carter wants to do is redevelop the site into a nicer gas station, and I'm going to show you some examples here in a minute of kind of generally speaking what it will be. Their elevations, one of the conditions dealt with, receiving approval of those prior to the land disturbance permit. And the reason for that change being is we don't currently own the property. Once we do, then we're happy to work with staff and make sure that we get a product that everybody can agree on. But I'm going to show you some examples of generally what we think it'll look like. You've seen the elevations. What I wanted to highlight here is, and I know there's a lot of stuff happening on this page, but to Madam Chair's point here, Tract A is the existing site. Tracts B and C are the tax parcel as it exists now. Tract B is what Maine Carter will be buying. That's what will be combined into Tract A, and that's basically where the site is going to be redeveloped, and Tract C will remain. So that kind of shows you that part. This is an example, and I want you to focus more so on the building. This is something similar to this is what we'd be putting there. This is just another example. This is another example. This is actually west of the subject on Highway 138. So it's going to be something that looks, generally speaking, like that, and we'll work through that at the point where we can kind of get to that stage. Staff has provided some conditions. I think we've hashed out whatever modifications to them there are, so I think at this point we don't have any problems with what has been discussed so far, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, we would request that you grant the rezoning application. And I know that I have comp plan on my PowerPoint here. During that revision process we went through a few months back, it actually got taken care of in between the time the application was filed and now, so it's actually consistent with the new comp So with that, happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Is there anyone here, give us the opportunity to see if there's anyone here to speak in opposition. Is there anyone here wishing to speak in opposition? Yes, ma'am, come up. Come up to the microphone for me and state your name.
Kimberly A. Smith. I'm in the subdivision not far from that, and what I was trying to figure out is entrances and exits, because when you get in that one, you hardly can get out, and y'all know that. So I was just trying to get an idea of how you're getting in and out of the new place.
So Kenta, can you put the rendering up to explain?
The existing entrances are here and here. So I believe the applicant is looking to maintain those existing entrances. And I don't want to speak for them, but if it comes time for redevelopment of the site and permit submittal, with that, Department of Transportation is going to provide comments or insight for that permit and provide review. If it comes to the point where maybe the entrances would need to be reevaluated, it'll certainly come up during that review process.
So these are two state highways that connect. You got 138 and 155. So we really don't have a say
Yes, you're correct.
in that because these are maintained by GDOT.
Correct. Yes, so I did misspeak.
So I guess my question is, has there been something put forth to GDOT, or will there be something put forth to GDOT with regards, because I'm assuming from the renderings that it's going to, the station is going to be set back some. So therefore, there are going to be entrances and exits both from 155 and 138. Is there going to be some type of turn lane added to it? But we can't do it because it's a state route.
Right, and that'll come with GDOT's review.
Okay.
So, if I don't understand your question, so can we propose that?
Yeah, because I don't know. I guess I'm trying to get to how do we
Yes, so
make sure, because she is absolutely right. It is difficult to get in and out of the station. And if we're gonna make this bigger and better,
Right.
then how are we going to make the access for the customers to get in and out a little bit better?
All right, so I can speak a bit to our development process, because I review the plans for zoning compliance specific. So during our development reviews, GDOT they receive the plans and they make recommendations. And they're not just recommendations, but they enforce them.
Okay.
So anytime you redevelop a property like this, it has to come up to the most current commercial standards. And everyone's standards from GDOT to Henry County DOT to planning and zoning to the building department have changed drastically since the 60s. So I do imagine that GDOT, when they take a look at this plan, they'll make adjustments to both entrances. So they do take a look at it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay.
And that is existing within our recommended conditions.
Okay. So I guess, what is the rendering going to look like? I mean, because I like this gas station in your district.
Come on. The gas station that we designed for Springdale, where we made sure that the pumps are behind and the building is the primary part of the design?
And so is this just going to be the convenience store, or are they going to have other buildings on site that will be leased out
Excellent question.
for other commercial properties?
Yes, so this will be a gas station convenience store, and on the left side, it's difficult to tell, but this space here will be reserved for another tenant. I believe at this time it is for restaurant space with a drive-through.
Mr. Carter has just indicated to me that the same architect that designed the store you were talking about is doing this store.
Okay,
Correct.
okay.
Then we're in good hands.
You got us? Come on.
We have a
Yes.
condition for
Kenta?
architectural review.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. I know this is your district, Commissioner Anglin, so,
I just want to say thank you for the upgrade. It's been an eyesore for many years, ever since I was a little kid. So it's nice to see this corner get redeveloped and updated. So thank you.
awesome. Any other questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion? Got a motion and a second. If no further discussion, all in favor? Oh, what? No? No?
So
What?
the applicant, I'm sorry to cut you off, the applicant did provide some revised conditions regarding condition 3.
Okay, all right.
And that was regarding condition 3 and 4. 3 being any ice bag machines, propane tanks, refills, exchanges, merchandise displays, etc., not visible from right-of-way along Highway 155 North. The applicant is looking to propose, just for clarification reasons, in addition to that, specify foregoing notwithstanding ice bag machines and propane tanks, refills, exchanges shall be allowed to be placed within south-facing the recessed areas shown on the elevations that are designed to shield these items from view. So going back to the rendering, rather than have the ice bag machines here, it would actually be on the south-facing wall. It would be rotated so that when you're looking at the building parallel from 155, you would not be able to see that. The applicant asked that I provide that clarification.
And the reason being is the modified condition that we talked about just before kind of the meeting, and you know, we're fine with it there, but the design of this is if I'm standing in the center of 155 before, you know, Henry County PD pulls up, tells me to leave, right in front of the doors, you can't see it. But as you travel south or north, depending, you might be able to see it on the sides. We're not doing anything on the north side that's going to be for drive-through for that retail component, but we could put it on the south face. So as it runs this way and turns to go back on that south face, that's the intent of that amended condition.
And staff does not have any qualms about that.
As long as it ain't in the front.
As long as it's not over, it says it's got to be on the south wall,
Correct, south-facing.
Right.
not in that cubby hole.
What we would likely do, and this would come up in the permitting process where, you know, condition 4, I think it is, gives architectural control to it, is during the permitting process, the cubby hole may get moved to the south-facing wall, but it's not going to be in the one that you see on this.
No, yeah, as long as it's not on the front. Just want to
Yeah.
make sure we're very clear on
Understood.
that.
Yes. And one more, again, for the applicant's request, changing condition 4C, gas station canopies shall match the design of convenience store, including brick columns, and this additional language, foregoing notwithstanding, canopies shall be allowed to have signage for the gas sold, just for clarification, just to allow a logo, for example, on the canopy. Not so much, actually, this image
If you go to
here.
the last one, I think, is really what we're talking about.
It
Still
would
look like
something
that.
to this effect, correct. Rather than have maybe the colors of the gas canopy along it, it would just be the logo sign. And again, staff is comfortable with adding that language.
Yes,
So the pump's gonna be in the back or in the front?
they can't be in the back.
Oh, they can't, okay.
Correct.
Okay.
So now I'll make my motion
Now,
Yes.
with the changes we made with the south-facing wall. Ice machine, propane tanks can go there. And the gas canopy to make sure that that matches the building itself with the logo there.
Absolutely.
Motion.
and the islands along the gas pump will be brick,
I'm sorry, repeat that?
right?
Brick columns, it's on there.
Yeah, okay.
It's on
Yes.
Okay, all right, never mind. Okay, got a motion and a second. No further discussion, all in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kenta, are we done with you? Okay. Anyone signed up, Stephanie, for public comment? Okay. We have upcoming meeting February 6, 2024 at 9 a.m. and February 2024 at 6:30 p.m. is regular schedule BOC. Oh, that, we already approved it. It was in the consent agenda. Stephanie, I'm going to table the walk-on because I need the county attorney to take a look at it for me, please. And then I need to call for a motion to enter into executive session.
Move that we enter executive session.
Can I get a second? Got a motion and a second. And we will reconvene shortly.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Can I get a motion to, wait a minute, I'm waiting for them. Okay. Can I get a motion to reconvene from executive session? Got a motion? Got a second? All in favor? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve the affidavit from executive session? Second, all in favor? Motion carries. That's it. We adjourn. Have a good evening. Thank you.